A bit dramatic, much? Party pooper. Hello, I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. You want to know what's worse about finding bad fanfics? What's worse than that? It's finding out that there is continuations to these bad fanfics that you've reviewed. I'm sure you guys remember the fanfic called Secret Romance by Mike the Fox. I also noted when I reviewed that fanfic that it said part 1. So, am I really shocked that there's more than one part? Not really. But here's the thing. There are 4 parts altogether, or at least I think so. Let's double check me. Yeah. 4 parts altogether. The thing is, the review was incomplete. It was incomplete. Unfortunately, it was incomplete. So, in today's episode, I'm going to look at the other parts of Secret Romance. A brief recap from the first part. Sonic is pregnant. Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way, is a man. He's pregnant with Silver's child. And in the beginning of the story, he gives birth to Silver's child. And then a little later on in part 1, we discover that Silver also made Shadow pregnant. Shadow! Oh boy. That's all you need to know about part 1. So let's not waste any time. And let's take a look at part 2 of Secret Romance by Mike the Fox. Sonic laid there, staring at the sleeping baby. It was around midnight, and Sonic just couldn't fall asleep, wanting to keep an eye on his newborn. Silver slept behind him, snoring slightly. Shadow was sleeping soundly behind Chip the Hedgehog. Why do you have to say the Hedgehog? We already know that they're hedgehogs, seeing it's about Sonic the Hedgehog. After a few minutes, the Cobalt Hedgehog Cobalt Hedgehog started to close his eyes. He was about to drift off when he saw the baby navy blue hedgehog roll over Again, you don't need to keep on stating that they're hedgehogs because we already know that they're hedgehogs. Sonic saw that Shift was crying softly. He moved around restlessly some more. Shift's eyes were tearing up. He started to whine, getting louder. Sonic, not wanting to wake the other two, stretched his arm out, put them on his baby son, and pulled the baby closer. Shift looked up, tears in his eyes. Sonic put him to his chest and started to pat the baby's back. So where exactly is Shift sleeping exactly? Right in the same bed with Sonic? If the baby's a newborn should not be sleeping in the same beds as their parents. Then again, it's been a while since I've read part 1. Maybe this was explained. Shift stopped crying. Then he started to struggle. He gave a kick to Sonic in the stomach as he wiggled around. Sonic loosened its grip as he put his hand to his belt. Then Shift started to move to the right. "What are you?" Sonic started to say, but stopped when he felt a sharp pain in his upper chest. He heard little sucking sounds as the pain went away. Am I breastfeeding? Do you guys see these? You see these? These are called breasts. Females have breasts. You want to know why? Because females are people who harbor babies. Men, well, they do have breasts, but they don't look like this. You see, men's breasts are not used. You want to know why? Because they do not have the power to create milk. Why? Because men are not supposed to have babies! But then again, why am I shocked that the author put this in here, seeing he had Sonic give birth to this child in part 1, so I shouldn't really be shocked that he's now breastfeeding him in part 2. So what, does Sonic have breasts now? Ugh. Jesus Christ, this story would have made more sense if they just gave Sonic a sex change. That's what they should have done. A lot of people probably would have been furious by that, but at least that would have made more sense than having a man, M-A-N, be pregnant. And the last I checked, hedgehogs are not hermaphrodites. So let's continue to read. He asked out loud. A minute later, Shift pushed himself out. Drips of milk fell on the sheets. Sonic picked up the baby. He moved around until he was out of bed. He flinched when Silver moved, but then immediately... That's not how you spell immediately. Is it really that hard to have a dictionary on you if you're not sure if you're spelling a word right? Is it really that hard to have someone peer edit your work for you? Jesus Christ, people. So let's read that again. He flinched when Silver moved, but then immediately fell back asleep. Sonic then walked downstairs and sat on a huge couch. When he went to lay down on the couch, Shift picked up his head up and looked at his mother. Shift picked his... Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Shift picked his head up and looked at his mother. God damn it, stop saying he's a mother because he's a... He crawled up to Sonic's head and pulled his nose. Sonic laughed. Stupid! He's cute, isn't he? Someone asked at the bottom of the stairs. Sonic started to freak out. He grabbed the baby and stood up. It was Shadow, no pun intended. The black hedgehog was holding his stomach, which was a little bloated. Oh, God, I forgot he's pregnant. What's with you, stomach? What's with you, stomach? Don't you mean what's with your stomach? Sonic asked. Will you be mad if I told you? Okay, if Shadow is speaking, his line should be in a separate paragraph. It should not be in the same paragraph as Sonic's lines. Jesus Christ, is that really that hard? Whenever someone speaks, start a new line. Will you be mad if I told you? Sonic responded. It depends. I'm sorry, Shadow responded. It depends, Sonic said. Shadow sighed. I'm pregnant with Silver's kid, he said. Well, that's one way of saying it. How blunt of you. Sonic's eyes opened wide. So, were they closed before? It depends. I'm pregnant. I mean, seriously. It should say Sonic's eyes widened instead of Sonic's eyes opened wide. Because with how you have it written there, we are assuming that his eyes were closed the entire time. His mouth was wide open. What? Sonic asked in shock. Then anger blew up in him. That filthy whore. Silver thinks he can just get anyone pregnant. He's gonna die. Sonic shouted. Then Shift started to cry. He started to kick and scream really loud. Don't cry, honey, Sonic said. Well, what do you expect? You just freaked out and yelled, and that, of course, it's going to cause the baby to cry, and then you're talking about threatening to kill his father. Oh, jeez. He tried to get over to his son, but there was one of Shift's kicks hit him right in the nose. Sonic staggered backwards onto the table. His nose was bleeding badly. Geez, for a newborn, this baby's awfully strong. Shadow got a little angry. He picked Shift up by the back of the neck and shook him around a little. Is this author aware that babies have actually died because of people shaking them like this? This story better not be going in the direction I think it's going in. Shift started to cry even louder. Then out of nowhere, Shift started to glow. He was instantaneously lifted into the air. He tumbled in the air as he flew backwards. Shadow turned around to see Silver with Shift in his arms. Daddy's here. It's okay. Daddy's here, Silver said. Shift immediately... They spelled immediately wrong again. Stopped crying to look at his father. Sonic had a napkin up to his nose. What happened? Silver asked. You got him preg? Sonic asked angrily. You got him preg. So, were they lazy and did not want to write down the word pregnant, so they just put down preg? You could have put down preggers, even though that wouldn't have been right either, but it's still better than preg. Silver looked at him in shock. Oh, and the I in Silver is capitalized, which it's not supposed to be, so it says, Silver! You told him, Silver shouted. Guys, the baby... Shadow said, and it should say Shadow yelled, seeing there's an exclamation mark in his line, but it was too late. Shift started to bawl again. Give me my kid, traitor, Sonic said. He grabbed Shift and stormed upstairs. Silver ran after him. It was Shadow. He wanted revenge on you for the prank you pulled on him, he said. Sonic stopped. Really? Really, Sonic? Yes, Sonic shouted. I thought I was going to leave and stuff. Sonic said as he hugged Silver. Silver laughed. And that's how part 2 ends. Okay, the last few sentences made no sense. Silver ran after him. It was Shadow. He wanted revenge on you for the prank you pulled on him. What prank? Can you specify? He said. Sonic stopped. Really? Really, Sonic? Yes, Sonic shouted. I thought I was going to leave and stuff, Sonic said as he hugged Silver. Silver laughed, and that's how it ends. So, is Silver trying to imply that the only reason why he cheated on Sonic was because Shadow wanted revenge? That still doesn't make it right. What, are we assuming that Shadow raped Silver or something? That was, I don't know. This is, okay, well, that's the end of part 2, and it ended really weirdly, so maybe part 3 will have a better explanation. So let's go on to Secret Romance Part 3. Let's see if it clarifies what happened in the last part. Oh my god! Really? Really, author? Really? What the fuck is this? This is not a paragraph, this is a blob of text. Break it up! Ay, ay, ay! Well, let's get this over with. let's read Secret Romance Part 3 by Mike the Fox. Shift sat there, banging a little drum. He laughed as he heard the bam-bam of the drum. He played for a few minutes more, getting slower every time until he eventually stopped, bored. He wanted a new toy now. Okay, are you going to explain exactly what happened at the end of Part 2, or are you just going to completely ignore what happened at the end of Part 2? And how much time is supposed to pass here? Is this supposed to be the same night? Is this supposed to be a week later? Is it supposed to be a year later? Can you be more specific? So he picked up the toy and chucked it with all of his might. The drum flew 20 feet across the room before hitting Shadow in the back of the head. Shadow trooned. Trooned? Don't you mean turned? Trooned? I don't even think trooned is a word. Shadow turned around. Anger clearly shone on his face. Little brat, he muttered. Then he realized that he was going to have a kid of his own soon and shouldn't get mad at the baby. But he knew what to do. He picked up Shift and headed towards the timeout corner. Shift already has been in timeout before, and this was the last time. He started to kick and scream. He swung his arms around, hoping to hit him, but Shadow was at a too far away to get. What? Shadow was at a too far away to get? Get rid of the words at and a, please, and have it say, but Shadow was too far away to get. That would make a lot more sense than having at and a in there. He put Shift down in the corner and walked away. Shift crossed his arms in anger. I'm assuming that the baby is supposed to be a bit older now, seeing, I highly doubt newborns act like this. But then again, they had Shift acting very unrealistic in Part 1 and Part 2, so I'm going to assume that he's probably still a newborn. Then he thought of something. He put his hand on the ground and pushed himself up. Then he leaned forward and went to put his hand to the wall. Then he pushed himself off the wall. He wobbled a little bit but straightened out. He took a step forward. He didn't fall or stumble. He took another step. He still stayed up. Then he started to walk. Okay, he must be a lot old. He must be like several months older now because newborns cannot walk immediately. Or at least, I don't think. Well, I know that they're supposed to be hedgehogs, but seeing Sonic the Hedgehog is kind of like a humanoid. You're assuming he, they have like human-like qualities, so, in the Sonic verse anyway. He swayed from side to side but kept balance. Once he got used to it, he started to run. He loved the wind in his quills. Then he saw his target. He ran over to Shadow. He pulled his fist up and slammed it down hard on Shadow's foot. Shadow screamed in pain. He looked down in rage at the navy blue hedgehog. Shift giggled, then dashed away. Shadow sprinted after the baby, well, they're still calling it a baby, making sure he doesn't hurt the kid inside him. Must they keep on reminding me that Shadow the Hedgehog, the most badass character in all of the Sonic universe, is pregnant? After a few minutes of running around, Shadow got tired. The baby was really bringing him down. He went to sit down on a couch. Shift jogged over. He stuck his tongue out and ran to the stairs. He tried to climb the stairs. Unfortunately, he didn't learn how to climb stairs yet. And yet he's perfectly fine with running around. Babies, the first thing that babies learn to do is crawl. So logically, it would make sense that they would know how to climb stairs. If they know how to crawl, climbing is not that much different from crawling. Especially if you're on your hands and knees. It's not that much different at all. So it makes no sense that Shift can run around like me, but he can't crawl. He can't crawl. He can't climb up the stairs. It doesn't make any sense. He was on the 7th stair when he slipped. Well, he must know how to somewhat climb if he made it to the 7th stair. He fell backwards. He tumbled down the stairs, each step sounding more painful, but it got worse. When he hit the last step, he flew backwards and landed on his head on the cold, hard floor. As soon as he hit his head, he started to scream at the top of his lungs. His arms flew in disarray. Shadow ran over. He picked him up and checked to see if he was bleeding. He wasn't. Just a bruise, buddy. You'll make it through. Shadow said soothingly. Shift started to bawl even more. He saw that a bruise was coming up on his head. Now, when you're saying he, do you mean Shift? And if so, If he landed on his head, how would he be able to see the bruise? Does his eyes like extend out of his skull and like look up? Oh, I have a bruise. Wham! That doesn't make any sense that he could see his own bruise unless he's looking in a mirror. But you know, a baby should not be this aware of stuff like this. They're having the child be way too smart for a supposed newborn. Although I'm going to assume that he's supposed to be a little bit older, but we'll see. Shadow ran over to the couch with Shift in his arms. He went into the kitchen and grabbed an ice pack. Don't you mean an ice pack? When he came back, he went over and put it on Shift's head. Shift immediately calmed down. Okay, every time they have the word immediately, they keep on spelling it wrong. Rather annoying. He looked up at the black hedgehog and smiled weakly. Shadow gave a sigh of relief, knowing that Shift was okay. He sat down next to him. Shift then reached his hands out. Shadow grabbed him and picked him up. He bounced him around on his knee. And that's how part 3 ends. You know, this person really needs to learn how to end their chapters better. They just abruptly end. They do. Most of the time when I read fanfics, the chapter has somewhat of a conclusion. Mike the Fox, on the other hand, is just, oh, so so-and-so decided to go to the park. And that's how it ends, pretty much. It's like an incomplete thought. You have to come up with, I mean, not like endings, but you know, like somewhat of a conclusion to the chapter, or maybe a cliffhanger. But this isn't a cliffhanger, this is just, okay, I don't know what to write, so there, I'm done. It's really sloppy. So that's part 3. Let's take a look at the final part. Thank God. Oh boy. If it'll open, that is. Okay, Secret Romance Part 4 by Mike the Fox. Sonic walked down the stairs to see Silver holding Shift, who was sucking on a bottle. Shadow was watching TV and eating ice cream. Good morning, Sleeping Beauty, Shadow said. Abba, Shift said, stretching his arms out. Sonic walked over and picked up his son. Shift smiled and tried to grab his mom's ear. Stop! I know that he is technically his mom, but it just bothers me because Sonic is a male. He's a male. He has a penis. He's a man. It's annoying. It really is annoying. This story makes me want to scream. It really does. I want to rip all my hair out because it defies anatomy. It really does. It does. It does. Oh, great. And now my voice is screwed up. There, that's better. So, let's continue to read. Sonic laughed. Who is my whittle boy? That's right, you are. Again, if he's saying something, every line of dialogue should be in a new paragraph, not in one paragraph. It's just so sloppy like this. Sonic said. Then Shift started to wriggle around until he got to a special area. He put his face in and started to suck. Sonic winced as he hated to breastfeed. Silver watched in amazement as Shadow continued to watch TV. A few minutes later, Shift pushed himself off his mommy's chest. Drips hit the floor. Ah, Sonic said. He sat down next to Shadow and started to rock his baby slowly. Shift looked over at Shadow. Gabagoo, Shift shouted, trying to grab at Shadow's huge stomach. Don't you mean Shadow's huge stomach? No, Shadow said. He can't hurt his child now. Okay, so I'm assuming that time has supposedly passed, but okay, so I'm a little confused. So because Silver told Sonic that it was Shadow's idea to get knocked up or to have sex with Silver because he was mad at Sonic, Sonic is okay with this. Really? Really? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is the stupidest thing I have ever read. I'm mad at you because you cheated on me. Well, it was his idea. He wanted to get revenge on you because of that prank you pulled. Really? Yeah, that's it. Oh Oh, good. I thought I was going to leave you and everything. I guess I'm going to forgive you, even though you cheated on me. Because it was Shadow's fault.
You disgust me, Mike the Fox. You really do.
Let's continue to read this lovely fanfic. Then it happened. Shadow felt a sharp pain in his stomach. His first thought, it was the baby kicking. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. It should say, at first, he thought it was the baby kicking. Let's continue. But then it went for pangs of excruciating pain. He dropped his ice cream and screamed. Silver freaked out, knowing that was time. Don't you mean it was time? Shift, startled by the noise, started crying too. Silver grabbed Shadow's hand, pulled him up, and used telekinesis, to transport him to the car. Sonic followed, holding the crying baby in his arms. At the hospital, Shadow screamed in agonizing pain. Silver bit his lip as he tried to think about what the kid would look like. A few minutes and pushes later, Shadow was relieved when he heard a popping sound and screams of life. He saw the doctors take the baby away to clean off.
Clean off?
Wow. You couldn't even spell clean right. Whatever. You know what? I don't care at this point. Let's continue. Then Shadow saw the doctor's hands go back to the area. So, I have a little question here. If they are supposed to be men, and if they're giving natural birth, are we assuming that the babies are coming out of their penises? How would that work? Would it get like wicked huge? Would it... Oh. No, that's just not possible. Is the baby coming out of their butt? I mean, it's not saying that he's having a C-section. It's implying that he's actually giving birth like he has a vagina. People, babies do not come out of penises. They come out of vaginas. Why? Because vaginas are designed for babies to come out of them. You see, the body prepares itself when it's about to give birth. You see, the little hole that the baby comes out of, it expands before the baby comes out of it. Penises are not equipped like that. You see, a penis, its main purpose, well, it has two purposes. A, peeing, and B, jacking off and fucking. That's all. It's not designed for babies to come out of it. Let's continue. What are you doing? Shadow asked. I just love the space between the quotation and Shadow freaking out. I'm going in for the other child, the doctor said. What? No, I don't have enough. He started when the pain came back. Then he realized he was going to have another baby. So, has the Sonic universe never heard of something called ultrasounds? You see, you use an ultrasound to see how the baby is doing inside of you. Ultrasounds can identify things about babies, like what their sex is, and most importantly, if you're having twins. So, are we to assume that Shadow and Sonic never had ultrasounds performed on them? That they just went along obliviously not knowing what their babies are going to be? Are we going to assume that? Probably. Because Let's continue to read. He started to push again, feeling something slide through him. Got the visual. There was another pop and more crying. Pop? Are you implying that whenever a baby comes out of someone's vagina or penis, it makes a popping sound? So it's like popcorn? Pop! Oh, I had a baby. Pop! Oh, I had another one. It doesn't look like that. Mind you, I have never been in a hospital. Well, no. I've never witnessed anyone giving birth before, so I wouldn't know. But still, I highly doubt there's popping sounds. Another nurse took this child. A minute after the second nurse left to clean the other child, the first one came with a dark gray hedgehog baby. It was a boy. The hedgehog had the same kind of quills as Shadow, but had the circular markings on his hands like Silver. The color of the markings were black. He also had black chest fur. His name was Dark, due to the color of his fur. This is black, and this is white. Don't you love the names I chose for them? Then the second nurse brought a white hedgehog. This one was a girl. So are you going to name her Light? This baby hedgehog had the same quills as her mother and brother and had the circle markings like her father and brother. The color of the markings were red. She was named Luna. Well, I guess that's better than calling her Light, because if the author named her Light, I seriously would scream. Because her fur was white as the moon. Don't you mean was as white as the moon? Shadow held his two children and smiled. 30 minutes later, the doctors had to take the newborns for tests. They said that the babies and Shadow had to stay overnight for medical reasons. Silver entered the car and was immediately bombarded with questions. Wait a minute. Wait, just 1 second. It was stated earlier in the story that Silver teleported Shadow to the hospital. It never once said that they drove a car. Silver entered the car and was immediately bombarded with questions. Is it a boy or girl? What does he/she look like? Is he/she cute? Oh my god. I don't have he/she because that looks sloppy. Jeez. The last time I saw this in the story was Barney vs. Pokemon, and that wasn't exactly a masterpiece of a fanfic either. Sonic asked in the back seat. Shift was trying to turn his head to see what was going on. First of all, he had twins. They are really cute and are named Luna and Dark, Silver said. He hopped into the driver's seat and started to drive. Again, I thought that he teleported there. Sonic got back in his seat and looked at Shift. Guess what, my baby? You have 2 new friends, Sonic said to his kid. As if knowing what his father just said, he smiled and laughed. Sonic smiled back. Again, it just ends. So something tells me that this isn't the end! No! I was not going to do anything with this razor. Why do I even bother?